Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another Black Powder update. Today we have the 1st Battalion for the 2nd Brigade, and these chaps are the 1st Battalion, 2nd Nassau, commanded by Captain Unsingen, and they numbered 889 men. Almost large enough for me to actually make them a big unit, but I always tend to, if a unit's numbers over 1,000 men, I generally make it like a 36-man unit. So quite a lot of men, but not quite there to make it into a large unit. These guys are sort of organised along the same lines as a French regiment. So these chaps have 3 battalions and a separate colonel figure. They're all commanded by lower ranked officers, although this particular regiment is actually commanded by a major rather than a colonel. So let's get on. Let's give you a closer look at these boys. So figures wise, these chaps are front rank, or mostly front rank, and just to break the norm, I actually have some elite mixed in. I decided to use these guys do actually come with an NCO. However, I decided to swap the NCO over into my elite unit and actually use a couple of the Nassau, the elite Nassau, to actually use as NCOs because of their sort of different position. Because there's actually, all of these guys have sabre briquets, so there wasn't really that much difference between a normal trooper and a sergeant, apart from obviously the rank stripes. So let's get going and give you a closer look at these boys. So we're going to start off with the most unique stand in this particular battalion, or the Nassau in general, and that is the Grenadiers. Let's try if we can get the light sorted out here. So, come on. It's a little bit dark here today. I don't really know why. Here we go, that's better. So here we have the Grenadiers. Now, the Nassau are a little weird to try and nail down a proper sort of uniform colour for them. I don't think there's any sort of, or at least I haven't come across any sort of hard evidence of a particular colour that they were. And there seems to be lots of different variations that people use to sort of nail this sort of a Nassau green. Now, I always was under the inclination of them being a slightly lighter green. However, it was actually the Osprey book, the Dutch Allies Osprey book, that kind of nodded me towards using a darker green. And after doing a little bit of internet searching, I found that there were other people that decided to use a sort of a darker green too. So that's what I decided to go with. So let me just quickly show you the picture. So just quickly select it. Here we go. So zoom out a little bit. So here we go. Here's a Nassau guy here and a Nassau guy here, and you can see that they're actually in a really sort of dark green. And if you look at them on the St Jerome site, they're actually in a lot lighter green, almost a sort of a similar sort of green as some French units, you know, like Cheval or whatever. Now I'm pretty sure that I've seen other people paint them in that sort of lighter green too. However, I actually prefer them in this sort of darker green scheme. Now, it's, sorry, a little bit of a distraction there. We'll go back to these guys. Now you can see these are the Grenadier Company, and they actually wear like cold packs, which is really cool. So as you can see, they have their sabre briquets, they have their French. These guys are basically using practically all French equipment. However, I'm a little bit dubious about the rifles that front rank have given them. They look suspiciously like they've given them British rifles, but I don't know. I definitely know the front rank, the elite miniatures have got French muskets. So I'm not sure if that's a little bit of a mix-up by the sculptors, front rank perhaps, but they look a lot like British pattern muskets rather than French, because you can always tell the French because they always have those 3 brass barrel loops on them, where the Brown Bess doesn't have them. It doesn't have those, the British pattern musket. But who knows? Anyway, they're still very, very cool figures. They've got the cold packs, they've got their semi-briquets, they have these really attractive uniforms. They're very picky to paint. There's lots of line detail, and just about everything's got piping on, yellow piping. They have all of them have got stripes down their trousers. Luckily, front rank actually moulded that onto their trousers, so it's actually really handy. Backpacks and everything all has this sort of yellow ochre style sort of leather. Just about everything's yellow on these boys. And what I did was to just tone the yellow into making it look a little bit more like leather. I just kind of gave it a wash of Agrax Earthshade, and I think that's pulled off that sort of slightly leathery look to their actual strapping. So I actually kind of like that look. And then the very last thing I did was I just kind of went over the stripes on their trousers with a slightly brighter yellow, just so that those stripes stand out. So that is the Grenadier stand, or company. Next up we have the 4th company. Now these guys have black pom-poms. Again, the classic St. Jerome site is always a classic for giving you extra bits of information, and this is obviously one of the bits of information that they give you is the different colour pom-poms for different companies. These guys use black for their 4th company, and here we have 4 bog standard just normal front rank troops. As you can also see, they have that same yellow leather on their musket strapping as well. Like I say, just about everything's yellow on these guys, and piping wise, everything's yellow piped. Their tailbacks are yellow piped, their waistcoats are yellow piped, the actual uniform jacket over top is piped in yellow. There's yellow piping up the running parallel to the buttons. There's piping around the collar, and there's piping around the arms. So as you can guess, these guys are quite time consuming to paint, which of course involves everything being undercoated in white before actually painting it as well. But really nice figures. Again, you can't beat front rank. Even if there is that slight musket mistake, it doesn't really make any difference, to tell you the truth. So here we have the Voltigeur. Now notice these guys have got covered shakos specifically. Now I'm not sure if you got uncovered shakos whether the Voltigeur would have pom-poms too. The St. Jerome site does have them having pom-poms, so whether it's just because these guys have got their shako covers on, they've decided not to use their plumes, but then again everyone else has got their shako covers on and they've got plumes, so I don't really know the reason. Maybe it's just to make them stand out. But yeah, they're basically exactly the same as a normal trooper, apart from the fact that they have a yellow and green scheme on their shoulder epaulets. Now, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but a while ago now, as I'm sure a lot of you have known, I'm not a massive fan of contrast paints. However, as of the sort of more videos that I've watched of people using them, it always kind of sprang an idea in my mind that I could actually use some of the contrast colours as elements of basic sort of base coating. Now, all through my Dutch, and these included, I've actually been using predominantly 2 contrast paints as part of my sort of experimentations into sort of using the what I would call one of the plus points of contrast paint, which is the way that it flows. It seems to flow so much better than a normal out of the pot paint, even if you water it down. So I've been using 2 colours in particular in my base coating regime, and that is Templar Black and Wildwood. And so basically what I do is when I get a new figure, I basically, let's start off with the musician stand now, and I'll just kind of explain. So what I do is, when I have my figure, my indicated figure ready to go, the first things I do when I start a new figure is normally to paint in the black and to paint in the musket. Now I've found that if you give all the black areas a coat of Black Templar, then you basically, well, I mean, roughly, I think you can do 4 figures in the time that it takes you to do 2 with a normal paint, and that includes it sort of being watered down. And although it doesn't give like an amazing 100% coverage in all areas, I always just go back over it with black at a later stage if it's sort of on slightly weak in a particular area, and I think it makes a really handy paint for a really handy base colour, basically. And I've had really good results with it, and now it's kind of part of my painting regime. So here we have the second company, or the third company, sorry, with the white plumes. I think it's the third company. Just have a quick look just to make sure. Hold on 2 seconds. I can't remember what I did these guys as. These guys are, yeah, second company. So second company is white plumes, and here we have the musician. Front rank, all these guys are front rank again on the stand. So quite a nice position drummer. Very sort of very definitely a French style drummer. Nothing really, no sort of British equipment on him at all. I've given him the French light coloured drumsticks. The design on the drum is a yellow with blue triangles. And I think he came out really cool, actually. Again, that same sort of leathering up of the strapping, and I left the sort of normal striping, a basic sort of yellow ochre, and then the legs, stripe on the legs has been given an extra coat of deep yellow right at the very end, just to make it a little bit brighter. So there's the second company. Onto the NCO stand, or I think this is actually the third company. Is this the third company or the second company? I've kind of forgotten now. This is the third company, sorry. So they were the second company. So this is the third company, and this is always my NCO stand. So here you can see that I have a front rank Nassau guy, which is kind of in a sort of a slightly advancing position. I've decided to use him as an NCO in this case because of his slightly different position. I think there's positions actually for an advancing figure over a marching figure is actually quite good, and actually fits in quite well. And you can definitely tell that he's an NCO, and as you can see, you can always tell that front rank and elite figures go really well together. So you have this chap as the NCO, 3 normal guys, of course. And of course they have the blue pom-poms, so that is the NCO stand. And finally the command stand, and we actually have a gasp, I hear you say, a elite chap in command of this stand. Now this, like I say, this the French style of commanding these battalions is that I mean, if it was a French battalion, they'd have a probably someone of the equivalent rank of a major, a chef de battalion in command. These guys have a captain. Now the only thing that was wrong with this guy, now like I say, you as you know, I always have a sort of a love-hate relationship with a lot of the command figures that come with the elite battalion boxes. These are the guys that came. You get 2 of these guys in the Nassau box. And for some reason he didn't have, even though these guys are supposed to be good for using as the second, these chaps don't have, or these particular models don't have the orange waistband. So I actually used plastic putty and sort of made my own. Now it's not probably the best job in the world, but I think it's a pretty good job for being made out of plastic putty, to tell the truth, so I'm quite happy with that. If there's one complaint about it, I'd say maybe it's a little bit too thick, but it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. You know, I suppose you could say maybe it's his like life, you know, his rubber ducky life vest, you know. But yeah, although it may not be like perfect, I am quite happy with it. So that is the Captain in command. I thought, well, obviously being a captain, he's only going to have one epaulette. I don't really have anyone in a really good sort of commanding officer sort of pose that I could use as a captain. So what I think I'll do is I'll actually use the elite guy, because originally I was going to use him as a secondary officer, and then of course I found out that there's actually a captain commanded this 1st Battalion, so I decided to use the elite guy because he has the one epaulette. Obviously we have the secondary officer here. Now the officers have grey trousers rather than the green, and they do still have the striping, as far as I can tell. It's actually quite hard to tell in the picture on the St Jerome site whether the officers do have them, but seeming the front rank ones had them moulded, I thought, yeah, I'll go for it. Now the elite guys don't have them moulded, although I think, actually thinking about it, they are moulded, but on this particular officer figure they're not really moulded that well. On the troopers they're moulded a little bit better, but as you can see we have actually another elite guy snuck in there to use as my high ranking NCO that I always have on my command stands when I'm not using a mounted figure. Now flag wise, so there's a junior officer, obviously. A really nice standard bearer, front rank guy. Standard wise, this was the standard was actually originally a front rank brass spear, and I just basically nipped the top off and basically stuck one of my flag toppers on top, because again, this is taken off the St Jerome site rather than some other sites. Now the thing that I had to do a little bit of research on was sort of banner pole colours. Now if you look at the Perry's site, their Nassau chaps have black poles with a sort of a yellow circular pattern going right the way around, a bit like a sort of a barber's pole, which I do think looks really cool. However, I was looking at the you know, basically looking around on the internet to see if I could find you know, more information about it, and I found them in all sorts of colours. I found them in that sort of yellow and black piping. I found it in the them as sort of normal wood, and I also found them as black as in the St Jerome site, and they also had these like blue tassels, and I really like the look of them, so I decided to carry that across. So I used the black pole with the blue tassels, and this is a GMB Nassau flag, and I think it looks really cool, and overall I'm really happy with it. So that is the 1st Battalion of the 2nd Nassau Unsingen. These guys are a light battalion, and yeah, overall I'm really happy with them. So that is the end of the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed painting these guys. Like I say, they're very time consuming, with all the sort of the white piping, the yellow piping and stuff, but great figures. And next up will be the 2nd Battalion for these guys, and they're actually made by Elite. I've actually got the 3rd Battalion coming, which are going to actually be made out of a half and half Perry's and Elite, and then it'll be on to the final part of the this particular brigade, and then I'll just have the division commander to do, and that'll be the 2nd Netherlands done. So I'm actually getting on really well with this project. However, I'm still what would it be, four battalions away from getting towards the end, and obviously a couple of command figures and an artillery battery. So getting there, but not quite there yet. So right, thanks for watching. Hope you're all well. Big thank you to a couple of more subscribers, and Again, as always, a big thank you to all my normal viewers. Hope you are enjoying this project as much as I am, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.